QDR solicitors are well known for sending multiple letters and making numerous calls when chasing debts. Like all debt collectors, are not immune to occasionally stepping over the line or just being a little bit tough to deal with. But that doesn't mean that you can't get on top of your debt and stop QDR solicitors chasing you. First things first, QDR Solicitors is a legitimate company. They're not a scam and they're not cowboys, but that doesn't mean it's going to be sunshine and rainbows dealing with them. Whenever any debt collector contacts you, the first thing that you want to make sure is that they can prove the debt is yours to pay. The burden of proof is on them and not you, so be ready to ask to prove that you owe the debt. That should keep them off your back for a little while you have time to work out how to move forward. If the debt is yours, then the simplest solution is to work out how to pay it. Agreeing a method to start paying back will normally keep QDR solicitors from contacting you. That's assuming that you stick to your agreement. Sadly, it's easier said than done, especially if you didn't know you had the debt in the first place. Luckily, you don't always have to pay all the debt back. If you're struggling financially, then there are options out there that could help. While these solutions aren't all suitable for everyone, you might find one or two could work well for you. I'll run through them quickly here. First up, debt management plans. They're an informal agreement that you make with the creditors to pay back your debts at a lower and more affordable rate. Normally that means paying less each month, but over a longer time frame. The catch is that you can't include all your debts in a debt management plan. So credit card debt, personal loans and an overdraft, they can all go in, but court fines and mortgage arrears, they sadly can't be part of it. Next is debt relief orders. They freeze your debt payments for a full year, and then if your situation hasn't changed after 12 months, the debt's written off. You make no payments towards a debt in the 12 months and interest isn't added. Pretty good, right? Sadly, debt relief orders have a strict eligibility criteria. So, for example, you can't own anything of significant value like a house and you can't have more than £2,000 in savings. Another option is offering a final settlement. If you happen to have access to a large lump sum, you can offer that to QDR solicitors or the creditors that they work for. It might not be the full amount you owe, but sometimes they'll be willing to write off the remaining debt because you'll be saving them the time chasing you down for payments each month. Unfortunately, getting your final settlement offer agreed might not be that simple, and QDR solicitors or your creditor could simply refuse. Individual voluntary arrangements are another way to deal with QDR solicitors. It's a formal agreement between you and your creditors to reduce your payments to one simple payment each month. It lasts for 5 years, and at the end, any remaining debt's written off. Again, like with all these options, there are catches. IVAs are legally binding, so you'll need to keep up with the terms you agree to. Otherwise, you could be back to square one with QDR solicitors. But all the time it's in place, you shouldn't hear from QDR solicitors. Bankruptcy is probably the most famous option. You may already know, but with bankruptcy, all your assets are reviewed and some may be sold off to pay back your debt. After a year, any remaining debt will be written off. Like with an IVA, during your year of bankruptcy, you shouldn't hear from QDR solicitors. Of course, bankruptcies do have some obvious downsides, mainly that some of your belongings may be sold to pay for your debt and your credit score will become very low. Paying back your debts, whether in full or using a method that I mentioned earlier, will ensure that you keep QDR solicitors at bay. Unfortunately, you can't just ignore them. They're likely to be persistent, which could make matters a lot worse. QDR solicitors can take court action against you if you ignore the letters. This could lead to a county court judgment, which will have a really negative impact on your credit rating, making it tough to get credit cards, loans and mortgages. If you don't pay your judgment, bailiffs could come to your house. Luckily, it doesn't have to get that far if you act now. One simple step that you could take today is to find out if any of the debt solutions that I mentioned were for you. In the description of this video, I've linked to a form on my new website and it's got a few multiple choice questions like how much debt do you owe and how many people do you owe? At the end of the form, it'll connect you to a company that I've partnered with to provide you with all the information you need about debt solutions that are available. Click the link in the description, go and check it out and let me know how you get on.